Well, hi everybody, it's Diana at Catherine Diana Studios, and I was going through social media the other day, I think it was last week, and an ad for Grabie came up, and I've seen them I don't know how many times before, but this one caught my attention because it's something that I make. I make a lot of shadow boxes and curio cabinets with little oddities and things that I've collected, and so this one made me take the plunge. So I've started opening it. I got to this and decided, why don't we just record it? Because, the commercials are cute for them, the ads that they have, but they don't really stop and really take the time to look at all the items that are in there, in the kit. And since we're all creative, I think that's the kind of information we really like to see. So here we go. So I guess we're going to be hearing a lot of paper and packaging and whatnot. So this is the Apothecary and Entomology Cabinet kit. So can you see? Yeah, you can see. I'm concerned about that. Let's see if I can bend it back a little bit. Oh, here, you might as well take a look at that. If you want to put it on pause, you can read it. I'm going to bend it a little bit more just so it goes back a little more. And this is a nice box in itself. I can put ephemera in this when everything's done. So anyway. Here we go. I love this paper, this color, what they used to call this in the Crayola box, seafoam green or something like that. So, oh, terrific. Okay. So how about, why don't I get things out and I'll move this box in this paper so we can have a better look. Let's see what all we've got here. And there's the front. Thought that was really cute too. All right, toss that over there. What is this? Oh, this is some kind of little, it's a sticker. It says Grabie on it. I don't know if I'll ever use that, but you never know. Oops. Hey, stop that. There we go. All right, so we've got quite a few things here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I have a lot of blue and white. I have blue and white dishes and pottery and all the works. So, okay, so I guess we could start with this. So, I'm going to open those kind of away from the mic so it's not quite so noisy. So here we go. Oh, isn't that lovely? They're so delicate. Oh, I love the shape of that. You see that one? There we go. So beautiful hydrangeas, and this looks like it has little pansies on it, and this could be, I don't know, some type of daisy. It looks a little bit like my African daisies that I have. And kind of a boho-y kind of look, and just soft and romantic and pretty, and it goes that way. And it looks like it says jerk right there. I don't know what it says, but that's my favorite word. Jerk. And that's the cleaned up version. Every now and again, they get more than that. So, all right, so there's that. You know what? I'm not going to fiddle with that. So there we go. Let's go with this one here. Looks like these. Oh, how pretty. Oh, love the feel of this. Can you hear that? Oh, I love the feel of this paper. It's got a grip to it, and I can feel that. And my hands are always so dry because I do a lot of gardening, a ton of gardening actually. I even have a small social media page for that. But look at these. Oh, so pretty. Can you? Oops. So you get 2 each, and just miscellaneous whatnot. Let me see if there's something super pretty. That's nice. And these kinds of things, if you don't have them, they're not that hard to make. If you've got a stamp, or if you have just some watercolors, or like this one, watercolors, or if you have colored pencils, and you can handwrite your own little thing, and you use either tea dye, or you can use, distress ink. Shoe polish, that works too. I've used that in the past. Although I don't necessarily recommend the Dollar Tree shoe polish. I got some there and bought some there, and it was okay, but it was kind of waxy and not waxy. It wasn't slimy. What's the kind of right in between that, and it just was kind of wonky, and it took a long time to dry. So anyway, so these are cool. And these are what does that look like? About 5 inches by about 3 by 5, 3 by 4. I've got a ruler over here. Why don't we do that? Well, here, let's get a little more even. It's close enough, but so about 5 1/4 by roughly 3 3/4, or 13 centimeters by is that 9? Ooh, it's like right, not quite 9, 9.5. I used to know metric because I used to live in Europe, but that was 40 years ago, and you don't use it, so you forget. So there's a few things I remember, but not much. As a matter of fact, I have a story about that. I was coming back to the States, and I had a really heavy suitcase. It was full of lots and lots of stuff. I was moving back, and so lots of things I didn't want to check with the mover, any moving or shipping, so I just put it in my bag so it would come back with me. And they asked me at the airport, I was trying to lift it up, and it was super heavy, and I made a horrible grunting noise, and I was like, ugh, like that. And the gal goes, well, how much does that thing weigh, as I'm getting it onto the scale? And I said, I don't know. And I said X number of kilos, probably. And she says, oh, okay, that's a lot. And then she goes about whatever, I was going to say tucks me in, gets me checked in. And I'm trying to get to my flight because our flight was late, it was delayed. And so, and there was, well, I'll tell you, the riots had broken out in Los Angeles, and I had been stuck in JFK and in New York for a night, and then I ended up, this was at Sky Harbor in Phoenix, and this was my second leg because to get me somewhere, and everybody had to go in and be rechecked in over and over again. It was just a massive, massive headache. And so I'm just about to make my connecting flight to Los Angeles, and all of a sudden I'm swarmed, and I think of that scene in Seinfeld at the bookstore, swarm, swarm, swarm. It's like, because all of a sudden I'm swarmed by all of these official cops, airport cops, and they're like, excuse me, miss, we understand you have drugs. I'm like, wait, what? And I'm looking at them like, what? And they said, you said you had drugs? I said, well, I don't, and if I did, I would never say that I did. And here, I'll show you these while we're chatting. And so right there in the middle of the walkway to the gates, they start searching everything that I had. They're just about ready to haul me off, I guess, in the back and search me. And I was talking to the main officer there, and I said, I can't understand. Where would she get that idea? I don't get it. And I went, oh, wait a minute. And I told him what happened, and I whipped out my passport, and I showed him my ticket. And I had some letters with me to show that I was living. There were letters from the States, people from the States, and I had those with me. And I had those to show I had been living in Europe. And I said, I used the word kilos. And because they couldn't find anything. They were down to just nothing. And, and he says, oh, okay. I think there was a misunderstanding. And I'm thinking in my mind, you think? And, so they let me go, but the problem is I ended up missing that flight, and there were no additional flights that were leaving. So I missed my flight, And I'm going to flip this way so you can see these like so. These look like, can you see that with the glare? Little chess pieces and miscellaneous. Let me show you here. Bottles and things. So this one's kind of in a grayish black. These here are kind of a antique-y, distressed finish. So anyway, so I ended up spending the night in Sky Harbor Airport because of that. And I didn't get another flight out until the following night, and I didn't land. I actually ended up going into an alternate airport way out in the sticks. And there was a curfew going on, so I had a friend come and pick me up, and I was terrified. After that ordeal, I was terrified we were going to get busted for being outside of the curfew time. And oh God, it was a pain in the butt. It took me 3 days to get home. It was a real big headache. So, but it was, you know, it's one of those things. And I can you see all those bugs and butterflies there? There's just oodles of them. Look, isn't that beautiful? So, and the riots broke out while I was flying over the Atlantic. I had just left Reykjavik, Iceland, and I was heading to JFK, and you know, that backed up the whole country and kind of backed up a lot of international flights too, lots and lots of them. I don't want to get that glare there. So it was a big complicated situation. And so yeah, so maybe that's one of the reasons why I've forgotten metric and all that stuff, because I associate it with a really unpleasant experience in my life that was just awful. So and the whole thing that happened was awful, and the people who were injured, and you know, it was just a really sad situation all the way around, actually. So what's this? This looks like a is this magnetic? No, I don't think so. It doesn't seem to stick. It grabs, but it doesn't grab. I don't know. Oh, this must be maybe somehow to close it or something. I don't know. I don't have the instructions, or my grandfather used to say the destructions. Look at the destructions. So this one here. So there you go. You get a little side story. In addition to looking at the Grabie stuff. So, oh, a little ticket. Now, these are like on cardstock. They do have a bit of a shiny surface to them. But, you know, birds, moths, owls, blah, blah. These remind me, like this one here reminds me. You remember the Tim Holtz floral ephemera bits? I haven't seen those in years. I'm sure they're still available, but cool. Mushrooms. Lots and lots of mushrooms. Can you see those? So, faux stamps, more mushrooms, little vintage style labels. Oh, isn't that sweet? We had a fledgling robin in our yard yesterday, and this morning I saw it this morning too. It was so cute. We have song sparrows, robins, and hummingbirds nesting in our garden this year, so that's pretty exciting. We usually have, I'm going to put these in this bag, by the way, because there's just so many of them, and I don't want them flopping all over the place. We usually have lesser goldfinches too, but this year we didn't really have any. They come to our feeders, but we're not aware of any nests in our yard. So, all right, and here's some. Hopefully that's. I see glare. I see a lot of glare. This is washi and washi that I can't get out. Let's see if I can grab this. Ugh. These don't grab squat. You know, they came in a. You know, those little put together kits. Oh, poop. I'll fix this wagon over here. Ha! Show you who's boss. There is some serious packaging going on here. Wow. They don't want me to get into it, ever. Alrighty, there we go. Individual washies. I'll just let them fall out here and show you. Sorry, that was noisy, I'm sure. Okay, that goes into the recycle bin. Alright, this is, oh, isn't that pretty? Can you see that? Get a little closer. I don't know how well you can see that. Let's grab a couple more of these. Numbers, little designs, text. Beautiful. Flutterbys, a dragonfly, more butterflies, another one. You know, I'm kind of right in between the lights here, so when I put my hands up here, they get hot. And then some just designs. So that's pretty cool. And then it looks like we have some, well, we can always use this, right? Nice little doily. Some lovely pressed paper here with, looks like threads. Can you see the detail and the texture in that? There's the back side. A little bit metallic, and here's the front. So these are pretty cool. Something similar here in white. Is there two of them? Oh, no, that's just the back of this one. So, ooh, I love that color. I had a bridesmaid's dress like that once back in the 80s. Was it the 80s? Yeah, it was about 1980, 81, something like that. One of my high school friends got married, and these were her colors. And it was such a pretty little cocktail length dress. You know, just cute. I wish I still had it. It was pretty. It was taffeta. It was lovely. Stars. Very shimmery, metallic finish. These are the same. And let's look, what do we got here? This is on like some kind of mesh. So this actually looks like the, you know, the gold pieces and silver leaf and stuff when you put on walls and things. So it kind of looks like that. Then some splatter texture mesh and beautiful blue, bluish green, teal. It's kind of a teal, aqua teal. And then, oh, it's the same. Oh, I see. It looks silver on that side. Like so. And like so. Beautiful. So there's those papers and fabric. They include watercolors. Am I going to have the same amount of trouble as I did on the other? Probably. Now, watercolors I don't necessarily need just because I already watercolor and I have 8 billion from cheap to high-end little palettes like this, so, but that's okay. I'll use it. What do we have here? Well, I like the names of the paints. Ooh, pretty. You see those? Let me get them down here, maybe. I'm seeing reflection off the top of that tin. I'm sorry. Colors are berry, cinnamon brown, citrine, Maya blue, ginger, pecan, pine, burgundy, dark moss green, black, wood, and indigo. Pretty, pretty, pretty. All right. Cute little tin as well. All right, and this is the last. So these are all the goodies for what this is supposed to look like. Can you see? Wait, I'm running into the stand for my camera. Can you see this here? All of that. Doo-doo-doo. So there you go. All right. Oh gosh, here we go again. Hold that thought. Recycle. Alrighty. Fun stuff. Super fun stuff. We have, oh, instead of E6000, it's B7000. There you go. Oh, there's a knockoff, huh? All right. Some little polished stones. Very pretty. And smaller ones. These are a little more opaque. These are a little more transparent. Faux books. That's nice. Like that. Can you see those? Several. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Looks like 11. 11 little various size cork top bottles, mini bottles for your apothecary items. And since I grow herbs, I can always put those in. And if you have dried herbs, you can always throw them inside your own. You could put in sand. You can put in, you know, old powder makeup that you shouldn't use anymore. If you kind of grind it up, and you can put it inside these little jars too. And that looks really pretty too. If it's a really pretty color, especially like the metallic colors and things, it'd be really nice. I do those in the Halloween shadow boxes that I make sometimes when I have dark colors, the dark purples, the dark, oh mercy sakes, is this gonna come undone? I see it. Blacks, grays. Okay, so, whoa. All right, this looks like this is some kind of possibly double-sided tape. It's itty bitty teeny tiny screws. Oh, my old eyes are gonna have a blast with that. Well, and that's for all these fixings and things. So there's the glue and teeny tiny little screwdriver. You see that? All right, and this here is a little candle. Awesome. And oh wait. You know, oh, this is for the glue. That's not a screwdriver. That's for the glue. Because I'm looking at that going, wait a minute. That looks like a sharp for... I used to volunteer at a humane society that did surgeries and such. And so that looks like, you know, the needles that go in for fluids and things. All right, so these lovely little tubes here. Your little test tubes. I don't know how they top them off, but I'll figure that out, I guess. Oh, there's a few more. And then the findings, little handles, this little screwdriver, a buckle. Oh, looks like it has, you know, some kind of, here we go, something like that, clasp that goes like so. Oops, you may not have seen that, but anyway. And then the hinges and more tweezers, some twine. And all these, this is some really nice cardboard. I'm sure that's part of it. Kind of heavy duty. Images to cut. Herbalist notes, backgrounds, tiny little tags, which you can put these little on your labels on the bottles. And then more book covers, because you know we can always make our own little books. So there we go. Insects. This is okay. I think the quality could be much better. It's blurry. It looks like it's been reproduced and reproduced and reproduced 100 times over, so it's not clear and sharp. This one's better. You can kind of see the quality is a little bit better. So, this is all right. Now, this wasn't cheap. It was, you know, 49 bucks USD. So, for 47. So, for 47 bucks, I think that should be nice and clear and legible, easily legible. It's just not so much. I can feel little things popping out there. There we go. All right, so here we have sandpaper, obviously small bits for putting this together, and little, what is this, balsa wood probably? That's not, maybe, hopefully it's supposed to be that way. I don't know. I'll find out. So anyway, it looks like, yeah, you just punch these through. So bits of wood here for whatever. So the instructions, oh, I see. How to put it all together. You just follow 1 and 5, 6. It's called the luggage wooden case. Then there's a vintage cabinet that you make, and then there's a mini large box and mini small box. So I want to get this again. I don't have a very good photo of what this is supposed to look like, but this is what it's supposed to look like. I think I can get some better light on that. What if I move it over here? Does that help down there? Maybe that's better. So anyway, but it's super cute. And you can go out to the Grabie website and, you know, see their stuff at a little more detail in terms of when it's finished. They kind of show, oh, here, put the pack here, the pack there, but they don't show what's inside everything. So if you wanted to see what's inside, this is it. I think for this, like I said, not so keen on it. If you have your own stuff, use that maybe. I don't know. I know I have plenty of stuff like this. So, and I can always reduce it on my copier to make it smaller. So, but anyway, so there we go. So there's that. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to look on the underside of this box and see if there's a better look. Maybe that one right there. Can you see that? That's what that's supposed to look like. And then it opens up. So, it looks a lot more durable in the ad than what this balsa wood is going to offer. So just a heads up on that. But I think it's probably going to be really cute. So I'm going to work on this, and then I'll do a tutorial again when I have it finished. But I thought you might want to see it. So hope you all have a great weekend. It is Friday afternoon. I hope you have better weather wherever you are. Especially folks, like I said, when I lived in Europe, I've got lots of friends over there. I don't have any family over there anymore, but, oh, I didn't show this, by the way, here. You know, the watercolor, you know what, I'm going to open this up before we go. I'm going to show you the brushes. This is nice, actually. This is a really nice wide brush, some kind of synthetic, looks like nylon. So, you know, and if you poop, I didn't want that to happen. If you want to use your own watercolors and watercolor brushes, you certainly can. If you have other, there's like a little hair here on this one, little bit that's sticking out. Oh, and of course now here comes another one and another one. Oh, kiss my. Well, we're just going to stop on that. Forget that. And then there's another. So, anyway. All right. So, anyway. So, here we go. I hope, like I said, was saying, I hope your weather's getting better. You're not baking where you are overseas. Or cold already when everybody below the equator. So, anyway, hope you all have a great weekend. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.